UCC Talk
You've got this.
24.
And with domains,
And here on this
websites, and
channel, we're
payments,
all about the
GoDaddy is a partner
UCC,
that puts you
public and private
first.
rights, giving
Start
people
today at
information and knowledge to enrich
godaddy.com/first.
themselves. Today, I'm going to talk about how can you cash in a $100,000 promissory note. So, I'm on the block, and I want to talk about Genesis creditors back Winklevoss promissory note claim as possible bankruptcy moves. So basically, this company Genesis, right, basically created a $1 billion promissory note. And basically filed it as assets instead of a debt, which a lot of people don't know that they can do that with a promissory note, and they use the general accounting principles to do this. So I'm going to read up on this little piece right here so you get a whiff of what I'm talking about. Genesis Global Capital labeled a $1.1 billion promissory note from parent digital currency group as a current asset in conversations with creditors. So you see what they did is the parent company is obviously the maker of the note, and Genesis Capital accepted the note for value, right, on its face, and accepted it as an asset on their accounting balance to basically bolster the their balance sheet. So as you see right here, promissory notes are generally considered liabilities on balance sheets, right? So usually that's the case, but they did the flip side, because you know when accounting principles, when it comes to accounting principles, it's debits and credits, or credits and debits, one or the other. So you see, listing the note under assets as is claimed by the creditors provides the appearance of a stronger balance sheet. See, you see that? Documents seen by the block from October and November show that Genesis accounts listed over $1.7 billion under the current assets column and other assets. This figure is slightly below the $2 billion from July seen in Gemini's recent, Genesis' recent filings, but in line with the firm's claims. The representations noted the DCG promissory note was characterized as a current asset. Winklevoss' assertion is that under generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, current assets refer to cash equivalents, or other assets that can be changed into cash within 1 year. The letter also argued that no market would value an unsecured, long-dated promissory note at face value. The net present value of this note would be heavily discounted, approximately 70%, to reflect its value as of today, perhaps 300 million. So you see how they did? They did the switcheroo. So anybody can do this. If you have another company and you decide to accept a promissory note on its face value, you can put it on your balance sheet as an asset, as they're telling you that you can do right here with this case. The switcheroo. Okay. Silbert responded with a letter stating that the $1.1 billion promissory note, which matures in 2032, represents DCG's assumption of liabilities owing to Genesis from Three Arrows Capital in connection with their default in June 2022. DCG did not receive any cash, cryptocurrency, or other form of payment for the promissory note. Importantly, the $1.1 billion promissory note is not callable and does not contain any other similar features of a callable bond. Additionally, Genesis assigned to DCG its claim against Three Arrows Capital, and as part of the transaction agreed that any recovery received by DCG in respect of the Three Arrows Capital liquidation will go directly to paying down the $1.1 billion promissory note. He did not directly address the consideration of the note as an asset or liability to Genesis. So you see what they did. They basically, the parent company drew up the promissory note, right? Passed it to the Genesis. They accepted it for value, right? But you see, the note is backed by the obligation of the company 3 arrows to pay the note. You see right here, 3 arrows capital liquidation will go directly to paying down the note. So they basically created the note, accepted it, and filed it as assets on their books. So that means that any company can do this. And especially it makes it more powerful if you have an obligation to attach to the promissory note. You understand? Because obligation is value and can be put up as collateral. So it's very important to know. You have to learn the general accounting principles, which is basically the gap. You have to definitely learn that. See right here, generally accepted accounting principles. So current assets refer to cash, cash equivalents, or other assets that can be exchanged in cash within 1 year. So knowing that, is always be mindful that you create the value. Your signature has a value attached to it. Okay, so that's very powerful, as you see. This company basically did the bait and switch, you know, accepted the promissory note. Most companies will put it on their asset columns as a liability, but they decided to put it on their books as an asset. It's totally legal. Now people can make objections to this process. Shareholders, creditors can complain about what they're doing, but you see, it is totally illegal because they have an obligation. 3 Arrows Capital is basically backing that promissory note. So it's basically 3 parties involved in this note. And usually, promissory notes are not meant to be cashed in right away. They're usually meant to change through many hands. And the more hands that it goes through, the more valid the promissory note becomes. So you can literally get your family together and sit at the table, right? And each one start a corporation, and you can pass a promissory note, and each corporation accepts the note for value, and it passes along, right? And you have all these endorsements on the note. This makes it more valid. So please like and subscribe if you ever see value. This is very powerful information. This is the paper game. This is how they're getting rich. You understand? The paper game. This is what you guys have to learn. Okay? The original issue discount is the product of the man's labor. You see, this is a public company, and they have to make these types of things public. Now, you was private. Just imagine what these companies do when they're on the private side of doing things. You understand? It would be less objections if something like this happened. You understand? So this is UCC Talk 24. I'm Madison Rich. We will be back with more videos. I hope you guys have got some value out of this. Please, again, like and subscribe if you have received value. We do have consultation services available if you want to learn how to do this process and what is the proper procedure. You guys have a good one.